Hello and welcome to Nick's Vintage Book Chat, the next episode. This week's book that I'm going to talk about is Alive and Dead by Elizabeth Ferrars, published in 1974. It's a crime mystery novel, one of her later novels. I think she started writing in about 1940, so this is a bit later. It's set in 1970s. It's got a bit more of a contemporary feel to it than others that I've spoke about before. At the start of the book, it centres around a charity, like an agency for unmarried mothers, and there's a lady who volunteers there called Martha Crail, Mrs. Crail, and when a young woman turns up one rainy afternoon with nowhere to stay, Mrs. Crail takes her under her wing, takes a bit of pity on her, and takes her into her house, takes her to stay with her for a few days until she can get herself sorted out. The young woman's called Amanda, and she tells Mrs. Crail that she's been married, but her husband died 3 years earlier in an air crash in Africa. When the day after, or a couple of days later, Amanda says that actually he didn't die and he's still alive and she's seen him, everybody thinks, oh dear, she's not right in her, she's hallucinating, she's not well, she needs help. Nobody believes her, basically. However, when a dead body turns up in the hotel across the road from the unmarried mothers agency, it turns out that it could be Amanda's supposedly dead husband, and he's been murdered, he's been shot, and of course suspicion naturally falls onto Amanda. There's quite a few different characters in it, her parents and another young lady that's staying in the house, and her boyfriend, Amanda's boyfriend, who follows her to this town where she's gone. So there's quite a few red herrings in it, and a few shady characters. And of course the central premise is this dead body, the body of Amanda's husband, who supposedly died 3 years since, and that's what they have to find out. And more importantly, who killed him and why. And there's a lot of, as I say, there's a lot of suspects. A very enjoyable book. I really enjoyed it. Moves at a nice pace. Good characterizations. Characters are well rounded, well drawn, and they're kind of like just ordinary people, I suppose. Mrs. Crail, who volunteers at this agency. She has a lodger who's lived with her for a long time, Mr. Syme, who they complement each other quite well when they're not investigating the case, but it kind of centres around them, and the police are in the periphery as well around them. And as I say, Mrs. Crail was a good-hearted woman, sees best in everybody. And Mr. Syme, who's a bit more cynical, her lodger, doesn't take people at face value, really, tends to distrust people a little bit more. They kind of complement each other well. You know, he brings her down a bit to be a bit more realistic, and she tries to tell him no, it's no, they're really a good person. So that's a nice. I enjoyed that relationship between them two. And as I say, it moves along at a good pace. It's easy to read. It don't get bogged down at all. There's lots going on. It's a very easy read. I think I read it in pretty much one sitting. I enjoyed it that much. 192 pages, which is pretty standard for these mystery books. And it's well worth a read. Really enjoyable. Elizabeth Ferrars wrote a lot of novels, a lot of mystery books, I've read 5 or 6 of hers, and I've really enjoyed them all. What I've noticed about them all, they're all different. I think she did do some series with the same character, but I've not quite come across any of those in my reading. But I've read 5 or 6, and they all kind of stand alone, really. And you can just pick one up and read it and enjoy it. She's a very good writer, very typical of the all the other writers from the golden age. You know, when she started writing in the 40s, you know, the golden age of detective fiction. Very, very similar in style. They're all good writers. They really use prose very well, and her books are very, very well structured. I believe she really worked the books out beforehand, and I think she kind of worked backwards, if you like. She worked out the ending, the denouement, if you like, and kind of worked backwards from there and structured the whole book from how it was going to end. So she's got a very good style of writing, very easy to read. You know, if you're looking for a new author, if you like detectives, whodunits, and you're looking for somebody new to try Elizabeth Ferraz. She's a very good writer. She's another very well educated lady. I think she was born in about early 1900s, 1907. Born in Rangoon, lived in Germany pre-World War One. I think she moved to America. She with her first husband, and then came back to Britain. So, like a lot of these authors, they had good kind of life experience, if you like. A lot of them lived in different countries. They had, you know, varied careers. A lot of them, and you know, they really had a good rounded life experience, if you like. So they write from a lot of different angles. So yeah, that's this week's book, Alive and Dead by Elizabeth Ferraz. Give it a try. It's well worth looking out. And if you've enjoyed watching this, I always appreciate a thumbs up, or if you want to subscribe, that'd be great. Comments, you know, I'll gladly read them, and any recommendations. I'm always looking for new authors to try. I've read that many books and I've exhausted most of the authors. So if you can recommend any, I'm all ears. So that's this week's book, Alive and Dead, Elizabeth Ferraz. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Toodle pip.